tell you now, guys, that that looks 100% better than it does in real life. This is going to be presented by our president to number 1 SFTT this evening.
I have to say this gives me more pleasure than anything we've done since the memorial. I think it's brilliant.
Okay, are we on? Right. Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. I feel a bit like following the Lord Mayor's show after that presentation by Dave, but I haven't got a lot, so I won't keep you that long. There's very little to report on the merchandise side of things. Adequate stocks are held of all the staple items such as ties and blazer badges, and lapel pins, etc. However, I would like to draw your attention to the web ordering facility. Was that the Hereford bull? Take the bull by the horns. Certainly saw a lot of bull. The web order. The web ordering facility. Oh yeah. We originally planted did not meet with the approval of the then curator, and we were instructed to replace them. After some negotiation, it was agreed that the NMA would carry out the replacement as part of their winter planting programme. This they did. However, when myself and Dave attended to replace the information plaque, we weren't at all happy with the effect. There were 4 different trees of varying heights, and as I say, we weren't at all happy with it. So we contacted the new curator, and he agreed with us that it wasn't a good effect at all. So they've replaced alternate corner trees that they match now from alternate corners. We've got a red one in this near corner and a red one in the far corner and green and green in that corner. So it's a more uniform effect.
Ladies, no. Now, it may surprise you to know that I've been accompanied not by another colleague in drag, but my wife. And I have to explain the reason for that is that Noreen was involved in the ceremony on Friday at Alario Cossack Church, and she was playing the organ, so she's accompanying me here in that capacity. I won't go any further into that. Anyway, friends, I'm very sorry last year I wasn't able to be here with you. I found myself in another senior moment, and I double booked, so I was involved in a wedding. But this year, no, I'm with you, and it's good to see you all, bleary-eyed. Bushy-tailed, yes. So what am I going to tell you about last year, the years we've just been through? It's been a very, very busy year, I must admit, and it's steadied by medications and ageing. I'm 2 years behind dear Chris now, so we're not doing too badly, are we, Chris? That's wonderful. To be your padre.
He loves us both.
Sorry? Sorry?
It's nice and short because we are running out of time and we're a bit late. You've probably heard before, you've heard from Terry and from Ozzy about the problems we've had with people not paying the proper subscriptions. We've got a good database now, we have far more control than we've ever had, right? So we will be putting a lot of sanctions in the future. Right? I'll leave it at that. I talked about the cenotaph earlier on, right? Mel and I went to the Federation meeting in July and found to our surprise that the British Legion had changed the policy and the actual procedure for getting tickets for the cenotaph. It came too late for us to put it into the July issue of the newsletter, so we had to put it onto the website, and probably most of you didn't read it. But briefly, what's happened is that everybody who goes to the cenotaph now has to be vetted by the Metropolitan Police. Right? So we have to supply on an electronic form. We have to supply the title, surname, first name, place of birth, date of birth, first line of address, town, postcode, service number, and if applicable, if they have any medals. Don't ask me why the medals are there. Right? That then goes to the Metropolitan Police, who do the vetting, and if it's successful, you get a ticket with your name on it, which is non-transferable. And when you turn up at Horse Guards on the Cenotaph Sunday, you have to bring some photo ID and also a utility bill with your current address. Now, what's going to happen to the 500,000 people who are all down the side of the streets, who nobody knows who the hell they are? It's only you guys who are actually being vetted. Right? Now, we had to have that in by the end of August. So if anybody hasn't actually contacted me, I'm afraid you're too late. I did that.
Can I walk around with it? Right. I've made an awful lot of notes here, which I don't usually do. The problem is I can't read them. First of all, as I usually do, and it's important because it means a lot to them, please show your appreciation for what is, as we've been saying, first class. First class. Yeah. Two things stand out for me this year. As you know, we try always to move forward, and two things stand out this year. One was the laying up of the old standard and the presentation of the new standard yesterday. And can I add my thanks to Pip for presenting the new thing to us. Wonderful tribute, thank you. I couldn't help thinking yesterday a couple of things as we went through the ceremony. One was thinking of Brian Hume. It's no secret, of course, that Brian Hume and I did not exactly see eye to eye, as some of you will know. But nonetheless, he was a very, very loyal member of this association. And he presented the old standard, as you know. And we had planned for him to be an integral part of the ceremony. He was, in fact, going to do, if he was able, what I did yesterday. He would have to be very able to have done it, but that's another story. Unfortunately, he got iller and eventually, subsequently, he died, sadly, so he wasn't able there. And that was bad news enough. But then we heard just earlier this week that his wife Anne had also passed away and didn't survive, and sadly by very much. And we know when her funeral is, and that's all in hand on the welfare side of things. But that was the sad bit about it. But the pleasing thing about it is that together with the new standard, eventually, are in that church for time immemorial. So now we've got three things going for us, if you like. We've got the memorial in the Arboretum. We've now got standard in the church, all of which will survive us and take the memory. And there is a third thing. And the third thing, I can't remember what it is. It's the eagle. I didn't forget, honestly.
Tony, good death throw. Stop. the opportunity to speak to you last year, and I'm sure that is fresh in your memory. Just 1 year ago, seems like only yesterday that, I'm delighted that I am invited back amongst your ranks again this year, if not a little surprised perhaps. As a graduate, direct entrant. Somebody has to be. I know the pantomime season is early. Keep up, gents. As a graduate direct entrant, I still feel like the ginger stepchild, despite your warm reception this evening. But as protocol is a fickle beast, yes, indeed, even Cinderella did get to go to the ball. So, thank you very much indeed for inviting me back. I'm delighted, in fact, over the moon to be amongst your company again. You will, if you have good recollection or indeed you studied your menu card this evening, you will recall that I had a summer suit on last year. And therefore, it will not escape your notice that I have elected to go for the winter suit this evening. Because perhaps for some of you, a summer suit is too avant-garde. But equally, you will remember that suit went with a rather camp tie.
Seems like a nice boy.
Jerry, don't wave at me like that. Don't wave at me like that, Jerry. That's dangerous. And indeed, I'll let you decide whether that camp tie was indeed a present from my wife or a boyfriend from Brighton. After a year in command, in fact 13 months, I can assure you there have been some challenges that feel rather like wetting yourself in a dark suit. You get the warm feeling, but no one else notices. And so, gentlemen, I am dressed for the occasion this evening, as I know it will be a long night. Literally, steady, literally, this year, sporting with pride, my Boy Entrance Association tie that the President gave me last year. But only in an honorary capacity. I don't believe I get ahead of my station. But in all seriousness, gentlemen, this is absolutely a mark of respect for absolutely everything you did for the Royal Air Force in your day and shaped the Royal Air Force of today and tomorrow. So you have left a legacy that we take forward today. It is with some pride that I look out across the tables this evening and see a course of aircraft maintenance mechanics amongst you. And that pride runs true when I know they are absolutely holding their own amongst your cadre. A stunt double. And in terms of commanding officers from No. 1 School of Technical Training, we literally are spoiled for choice. There really is a roll of honour. From direct entrance to apprentices, the pantomime season continues. From graduates to Battle of Britain aces. We have even got our own Air Marshal in Julian Young, currently a member of the Air Force Board. Sadly, none of these were available this evening. And so, I have volunteered the officer commanding No. 1 School of Technical Training, Wing Commander Chris Jones, who is, as I said a moment ago, like you gentlemen and all of the AMNs today, following in some great footsteps. Chris, for those of you that haven't had a chance to get to know him well, started his career at Royal Air Force Cosford in 1989 on the penultimate apprentice course.
You never told us that.
The secret's out on none other than 154 entry. There's one fan in the room. Chris, got to be loyal to yourself, old boy. Well done. Having mastered avionics as a technician, he converted to the dark side, taking an electrical engineering degree at Sugarham and becoming an engineer officer. Here, from the vanguard of Royal Air Force technical training this evening, in Wing Commander Chris Jones, Officer Commanding No. 1 School of Technical Training.
Thank you for those kind words. I did brief you not to mention the apprentice word because I certainly won't in my part of the speech. Gentlemen, I'd like to start by saying what an enormous privilege it is to speak to you all this evening. Over the last 12 months, I've got to know personally many of your members, and I've worked closely with you on several parades. It's been an absolute privilege to march with you. As OC No. 1 School, I have an enormous responsibility to look after our young men and women of the future, and I take that incredibly seriously. And as next ranker, I'm incredibly honoured to have the position that I hold today.
The serving members of the committee cannot be promoted senior boy while they're on the committee. However, it has become increasingly clear to me over the last 22 years that the chances of escaping committee service are about nil, short of falling off the mortal coin. So I think it's time that we ditched that tradition. So the senior boy tonight is indeed a member of the committee. And if I look at my bit of paper, it'll tell me who it is.
No kid.
I'll tell you, this is one every time. So, tonight's promotee, therefore, is a committee member, and a very long serving one indeed. Joined the committee in 1999. That's 17 years and very nearly 2 life sentences. I myself am on my 3rd life sentence, so he's got a bit of time to do that, so he's not getting away. I won't bang on about and embarrass him. Suffice it to say that he has put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours on behalf of this association of exemplary work and truly magnificent service. He started, as I say, in 1999 as a service liaison officer, which was the first time that Dave Morgan resigned and went elsewhere. And then in 2009, he became the treasurer. He is a sure friend and an all-round good guy. And I'm delighted, therefore, to invite Group Captain Hunt to present the lanyard tonight to Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah!